$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
So notice something. I defended him on his bad joke because I have standards and I have principles.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did, and back in those days, you show how things have changed. One of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There was a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain. and you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you're kidding me. He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in the rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you, Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again. I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa. Here's the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same.
As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Go, Brandon, I agree.
Righteousness versus Satan. Yes, Satan. Because these leftists are evil.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of the show featuring Max the goddamn doggy. Max, you want to come uppy? Come uppy, 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 uppy. Ah! Ooh, look at this dog. Oh, got Max the dog here, folks. Oh, you took my headset to the ground? Why'd you do that? You brought the whole thing down. It's Max the dog, folks. God damn son of a gun. He's licking my feet. What the hell? What the hell? Max, you're famous. Look, it's you on the TV. They're posting your face. You're famous. You're famous. You're famous. All right. That's all I got. I'm out. Okay. Maxie, what the hell? Okay. Max the dog. Anyway, so I got a there's this feature, and it makes you really cool. You know, it makes you super fucking cool, and in fact, it's so cool that honestly, it's not even the weekend, but I'm about to bust this fucking shit. Yeah. You got the membership option is now available. The membership option is now available. That's right, you heard me correctly. After yelling at me for months, if not years, I have finally decided to do something about it, and I did it. So, the lowest tier is $2, which you can join today, and gain access to the Max the Dog emote collection. More to come. I will also put my own face in there at some point in time. And that's pretty much it. So, $2, and then you get to post the max. So, but I will put some of my own faces in there over time. But I figured, got to start it with the Max dog. It's my tribute to the Max dog to celebrate the fact that he is heartworm free. And actually, I think tomorrow will be I think like a month or something from the last procedure. So I think he should be off of, I have to check my charts, but he should be off of exercise restriction. So very soon, either today, tomorrow, I have to check my charts. And that means it is time for Max the dog to start living life once again. I'm not gonna lie, Max the dog has gained like 8 pounds. Max, you're fat. You're a fat fucking dog. It's okay. I gained 8 pounds over the last year or two. It's all right. But still, we're going to be losing some weight with Max the dog. We're going to go on walkies. We're going to throw the ball. And it's going to be great. So, hello, watch Symphogear. I'll become a member if you watch Symphogear. Sounds good to me. What is that, an anime? I like anime. HRC hot sauce. How would that work? Like, is it just her face from that moment? Because no one's going to understand that. Am I allowed to get like an emote of the president? Is parody okay on that? I don't know. God damn, we have the LARPers here. I love the LARPers. Like the people that just have all the weird account names. And then they recycle the same shit. The R to Abner, did I fuck it up? Did I fuck it up? No, I didn't fuck it up. There's an R in there. I did not fuck it up. That's fake news. That is fake fucking news. So, oh, wait, what the fuck? It's in the text field, but it's not in the scrolling bar? Oh, that's strange. That's strange. That is very strange. It's in the text field, unless this font doesn't do R's. That is strange. I'll work on it. Anyway, I got really high last night. I know this is typically a story. Hey, Rock, that I tell every morning. But I'm a little bit of So anyway, I got high last night, and I'm still high right now. So Chi-Chi won't let you buy memberships. Oh, what the fuck, Goku? You gotta get the goddamn Ox King on this shit. He's on your side. Come on. Congrats on being high. Thank you, thank you. Let's see if it works this time with the scrolling text. Come on. Oh, there it is. I fixed it. Wow. Wow. Anyway. Yeah, so, there we go. I'm gonna drink some more fucking water. All right. So this is a news show, I guess, right? Anyway, I think this is a news show. My eyeball itches. Jesus. God damn. All right. So this is the Above It All show. What should I talk about first? Let's talk about this. The United States of America. Well, I wouldn't say that we're so united nowadays, but the United States of America has produced an interesting phenomenon. And that is, of course, that life expectancy is on the decline. And so I have an article from the NYT here. U.S. life expectancy falls again in historic setback. The decline during the pandemic is the sharpest in nearly 100 years, hitting American Indian and Native Alaskan communities particularly hard. Once again, I have been saying that the fact that the pandemic is more devastating to indigenous populations and people of color over white people in this country, I think, is one of the main reasons why the people in leadership have chosen to do nothing about protecting people. Joe Biden declared victory. Well, I guess let's start. Donald Trump declared victory from the virus 12 times. Joe Biden declared victory from the virus 17 times, and then they both did nothing to combat the virus. Both of them did nothing. Nothing. Did we get universal masks? No. Did we get universal tests? No. Did we get universal treatment? No. Did we get universal vaccine distribution? No. So they did nothing, and they declared victory anyway. Meanwhile, indigenous populations are the ones getting hit the hardest. Isn't that a little interesting? The average life expectancy of Americans fell precipitously in 2020 and 2021, the sharpest two-year decline in nearly 100 years, and a stark reminder of the toll exacted on the nation by the continuing coronavirus pandemic. In 2021, the average American could expect to live until the age of 76, which is pretty fucking low. Federal health researchers reported on Wednesday. The figure represents a loss of almost 3 years since 2019, where Americans could expect to live on average nearly 79 years. The reduction has been particularly steep among Native Americans and Alaska Natives. The National Center for Health Statistics reported average life expectancy in those groups was shortened by 4 years in 2020 alone. The cumulative decline since the pandemic started, more than 6.5 years on average, has brought life expectancy to 65 among Native Americans and Alaska Natives. Very conveniently, 65 is when you're able to start cashing in on Social Security checks. I wonder what's going on there. On par with the figure for all Americans in 1944. In 2021, the shortening lifespan was more pronounced among white Americans than among black Americans, who saw greater reductions in the first year of the pandemic. While the pandemic has driven most of the decline in life expectancy, a rise in accidental deaths and drug overdoses also contributed, as did deaths from heart disease, chronic liver disease, and cirrhosis, the new report found. Of course, heart disease and chronic liver disease are a result of Americans eating a shitty fucking diet, right? They feed us poison. You have to understand this. Richard Nixon, right, sent the U.S. Agriculture Secretary to mass manufacture poison so that people wouldn't riot in the streets because of lack of food. So they created the perfect drug, high fructose corn syrup. They put it in everything to make people feel like they were getting more food. Food was more plentiful, theoretically. Now, is it actually food? No, it's poison. But people don't really realize that, and so now, 50 years later, it's created a situation where everyone in the country almost, has chronic liver disease or chronic heart disease because of the shitty fucking food in this fucking country, right? Drug overdoses, completely optional. Also, let's fucking go back and look at Richard Nixon, who is a big fucking proponent of the drug war. In fact, he was the first one really in the presidency to make the drug war a huge thing, signing in the the Controlled Substances Act, of course, which makes marijuana a Schedule 1 drug. But it also, what it does is it creates an unsafe environment for people to use drugs, and people are going to use drugs regardless of whether or not the law says you're allowed to or not. So it creates an unsafe environment where people that do use drugs cannot get help if they want help, if they need help, and it results in them overdosing and dying more often. It also results in a black market where drugs are not regulated, and someone could try buying cocaine. In reality, they're buying fentanyl. They don't know what the dosage they're doing is, and then they end up dying. You know, so this is a situation that's all manufactured. We have created this entire scenario, right? The United States of America is a terror state. They are a terrorist, and the hostages are the American population. Until now, experts have been accustomed to measuring life expectancy changes in increments of months, not years. Even small declines in life expectancy of 1/10 or 2/10 of a year mean that on a population level, a lot more people are dying prematurely than they really should be, said Robert Anderson. This signals a huge impact on the population in terms of increased mortality. So, Then the article goes in to talk about how other countries are not really dealing with the same thing. In some countries, life expectancy is going up. But again, I just like this fucking shit, man. Like, Americans are stupid. Like, we need to really think about this. Americans are fucking stupid. Americans are fucking stupid, and we put up with this. Our leaders feed us poison, put lead in the atmosphere, put lead in the water, put forever chemicals in the water, and we don't do anything about it? Richard Nixon started the war on poor people in this country and started poisoning our food because he was afraid of food riots. Could you imagine in the modern day US a food riot happening and doing anything at all on political discourse? It will never happen, right? Because Americans are content with their poison, right? And also the poison destroys our bodies. We're not even capable of rioting if we wanted to. This country is on a downward slope. And, I mean, again, we can pinpoint Richard Nixon to the start of that if we want, but it started a lot sooner. It started very, very long time ago, this country's downward slope. In fact, I would argue that this country has been on a downward slope for most of its time period. Maybe let's cut a little bit of slack for World War II, although there's a lot of really fucked up shit going on there too. But either way, this shit's just crazy. And it's sad. Preventable deaths, preventable disease, and we choose to do the opposite. We choose to give more people disease, and we choose to give more people. It's fucked up. Donald James gifted 5 memberships. How does that work on here? Like, does anyone claim them? Like, how does it... I thought you would select the users. Like, I thought you would select the users. Do I have to do anything? I haven't read the DOJ updates, but I have read Donald Trump's meltdowns a little bit. Is the sound choppy? Try reloading the bullshit. It's random? Really? That's interesting. So it's just like, okay. Oh, you have to allow gifts for the... That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I'm still learning the YouTube membership stuff, so I'm still learning. I will update all the badges and bullshit eventually, but please bear with me, y'all. I'm also trying to get the... I'm also trying to get the merchandise bullshit going. Goddamn Johnny Truant's coming to the YouTube stream. It's happening. Cross-contamination. Enabling it through the thing that popped up. Well, everyone enable your pop-ups, you know? Enable your goddamn pop-ups. I need to get another cup of coffee, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. I need to fucking cut back on caffeine. I'm doing so bad with my caffeine addiction. I'm caught right now. I need to, I honestly need to do like a full detox at some point pretty soon. I need to take like 2 weeks off of everything. But, yeah, you know. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how, are the gifts in limbo now? Like, what? I don't know how it works. I'm not sure. I don't know. So, I wish I knew. I wish I was more educated. Can we get like a YouTube rep in here? Hey, yo, YouTube rep? What the fuck, man? You know? Yeah, I mean, well, I have an addiction problem in general. I'm a very addictive person, so for me, like, it just cycles between certain kind of substances, and right now coffee is the one I'm stuck on. So, and it's so good. Like, it's just so good, you know, it tastes good. It makes me fucking fucked up. It makes me better at video games. It makes me more hyper and energetic for the stream. Johnny Truant gifted 5 memberships. That's fucking crazy. That is fucking crazy. But can people, like, get the memberships is my reaction. Or my question. God damn. But yeah, I apologize if I'm low energy this morning. I got really high from my Twitch stream yesterday. And so, I'm still recovering. But I might take a break here in a second to go get some more coffee. But I'm going to try to get through one more news story first. The United States really not doing so good. It's really not. People in this country, they don't like each other. They really don't. Poll finds that 43% of Americans believe that it's likely a civil war will break out within the next 10 years. Now, I want to clarify my opinion on this. My opinion is I don't think that there will be a civil war similar to the other civil war that this country had in its history. I don't think that that's going to be a thing. I don't see it happening. I don't see a state seceding and then trying to like fight the U.S. military. I view that as impossible. But my opinion on what a civil war would look like in this current time period would be you have terror groups like Patriot Front, Proud Boys, and so on, that will do targeted terror attacks on certain federal buildings. For example, we saw people attempted a couple years ago to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Again, we saw what happened on January 6th. Again, we saw what happened with the guy trying to storm the FBI office with a nail gun, right? So I think that kind of stuff, I think that you can really trace that origin point to Charlottesville. Was really the moment where I would say whatever iteration of a civil war that we are going to be entering, I think you can trace it to starting at Charlottesville, or whatever. But that's my opinion. I think in historical context, 50 years from now, if we look back at this time period, we would say that we've already been in a civil war. I think the idea of like Texas seceding from the Union and like sending like the Texas Guard or whatever, that's not going to happen, right? But having terror cells all across the country of right-wing paramilitary, military-trained individuals exercising targeted attacks on the government, targeted attacks on queer people, targeted attacks on other political minorities, I think that that's extremely likely. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it, where, it's already happening, and I think it's very possible that it's going to get worse, especially with Donald Trump being able to, like, if Donald Trump goes to jail, I do think that there will be some serious action from these people. And again, now, does that count as a civil war, or is that just terrorism? I mean, these words really are very fluid, and one of the things that this country really has a hard time with, is that we've already had a civil war in this country 150 years ago. And so for whatever reason, because of that, because we already had a civil war and it was called the Civil War, whenever people discuss a potential future civil war, they always compare it to the other one. I think the time periods are they're just so different. I think you cannot compare the 1850s to the 2020s or 2030s. You just can't do it. I just don't think it's possible. So in my opinion, I think a civil war is extremely likely, but it's not going to be the Civil War like it was 150 odd years ago. So let me read this. A new poll of 1,500 American citizens found that 43% of them think it is likely a civil war will break out over the next decade, an indicator of the growing concern about America's political divide. The poll conducted last week by The Economist in the UK headquartered analytics from YouGov found that 55% of self-identified strong Republicans believe civil war is at least somewhat likely, while 40% of strong Democrats felt the same. Now this is, again, goes back into what my theory is here. Is that, again, Republicans are more likely to believe a civil war is imminent. Now, I need you to understand why that is so devastating. Republicans are the ones enacting all of these terror attacks. You have not seen any Democrats invade the Capitol. You have not seen any Democrats try to bomb politicians. You have not seen any Democrats raid an FBI building. right, and try to kill people at the... You have not seen Democrats go to a grocery store and do a mass murder of black people because it was a heavily black neighborhood. You have not seen Democrats do these things, but you've seen Republicans do these things. And Republicans are more likely to think a civil war is coming. That means they are preparing for it. That means they want to manifest it into existence. Whereas Democrats that think a civil war is coming means, oh shit, we're just looking at what the Republicans are doing, right? If you pay attention to right-wing domestic terrorism in this country, you're part of the 40% of Democrats that think a civil war might be coming. If you don't pay attention or you don't give a fuck, you're part of the 60% who just don't care. Meanwhile, again, a significantly higher percentage, a majority of Republicans are preparing and readying themselves for a civil war. Now, I don't think they know what it means. But they want to be prepared for anything, and that should fucking scare you. Meanwhile, 39% of those who said they were not very strong Democrats, 40% of those identified as independents, and 45% of those who indicated they were not very strong Republicans answered the same. YouGov said it chose to survey participants according to the gender, age, race, and education based on the 2018 American Community Survey conducted by the U.S. Census Bureau. The poll also showed that fewer Americans believe civil war wouldn't happen in the next 10 years compared to the number of Americans who thought it would. About one-third, 35% of those polled said such an internal conflict is unlikely or not at all likely, while 22% are unsure. Now, again, I would love to know how civil war is defined in this poll, because if you ask me, is Texas or Florida going to secede and are going to engage militarily with the U.S. federal troops, I'm going to say that that's a 0% chance. Right. So would that mean I'm in the 35% who don't think a civil war is happening, when I'm very clearly very afraid of domestic terror pop-ups all across the country, and I feel like that would also be qualified or whatever as a civil war. Right. I don't know what the way this is described to people. I'm not quite sure. Meanwhile, 3 out of 5 of those polled felt political violence and division in the U.S. would increase over the next years. Few saw the situation improving, with only 9% believing that political violence would diminish. So I think this is the more worthwhile number here is, again, everyone in their head has a different definition of what a civil war would look like, how it would go about, whatever. We all have different definitions of that. Right, so it's possible that 35% think, oh, we're not going to see states secede and go to war with the Union or whatever, right? But again, the big number here is 91% of this country thinks that political violence will escalate, get worse. They think that political violence in this country will get worse. As far as I'm concerned, that, to me, is 91% of this country thinking that a civil war is imminent. That's the way I read this poll, because, again, the poll doesn't really define civil war that well, and everyone's got their own unique perception of what that means. But if 91% of the country is like, yes, there's going to be more violence and it's going to accelerate and escalate, that, to me, is the number that we should take away from this. Not whatever the headline is, 43% of Americans believe a civil war is likely. Fuck that shit. 91% of Americans believe that a civil war is likely, according to this section here. Because, again, what is a civil war? It is a war among civilians of a country. It is when a country splits into several different factions and tries to fight each other and kill each other over the soul of the nation or whatever the fuck, right? So I do absolutely not think that certain states are going to go to war with other states. I think that that's very unlikely. But I do think that factions of these political parties that are going to engage in violence, and again, they are mostly Republican, according to the FBI statistics, about 96% of terrorism in this country is right-wing. 96% of terrorism in the U.S. is right-wing. Look it up. And that's according to the FBI, so they know this kind of stuff. So the way I see it, that's going to be what's going to happen. I would go as far as to say 91% of this country believes that a civil war is coming, based on my definition of the civil war. But we might disagree on what the definitions of a civil war would be. So, I think I threw in all the possible nuance there, but it's not good, folks. This country is falling apart at the seams, and it's not good. I don't know how the gifting works. Are they just like public and anyone can grab them? I'll add more people to the scrolling text tomorrow morning, by the way. That's going to be the way it's going to go. Because I don't want to do it like actively and update it, because then that, you know, that gets a little out of hand. But real quick, I'm going to go get myself a little bit more coffee. I will be right back. Is Max the dog in the background? He's not. So Max the dog is not going to provide you any company. Give me a couple seconds. BRB. Shit, I got right. So I got some more coffee. Bear the fuck with me. We also have a special guest appearance. Folks. I introduce to you Max the dog. Hi. You want to come uppy, Max? You want to come uppy? Uppy, uppy! I don't know if he wants to come up here. Where's your Max? Oh. He's doing his own thing. I think he's got a project he's working on. Anyway, so I'm back. Hello, Reelon. Welcome to the program. And there may be a couple memberships floating in the wind. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. Anyway, I got some more coffee. Wow, I need to get like a bigger webcam feed, so I should just do the show like this. Hello, users. How's everyone doing today? Huh? Huh? Look at that dog. Heartworm free. Certified heartworm free. This is the Max the dog couch, by the way. I mean, if I ever have any visitors, you know, this is where they would sit. But also, this is Max's couch, so good luck with that. Imagine, I'm going to start selling tickets like, you know, $5,000, and you can fly to my home and sit right next to Max the dog and just be quiet because, you know, I don't want you fucking being weird in the background. But that's going to be an offer at some point. Anyway, let me drink this fucking coffee here. All right. People need to accept their gifts. I think Twitch has the better system. Although, I like the idea that GIFs are just like in the ether and anyone can grab them. You know, it's like when someone posts like a Steam key online and then everyone's just like running and jumping to the fucking getting the Steam key, you know? You're already in the house? Oh boy. I took 2 Adderall yesterday and was all excited about my future, and then by evening I was a sobbing zombie. Seeing you had made me feel better. Well, that's great. Peaches is making big moves in the dog streaming world. Full-time dog cam and choice of treats when you sub her. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That's not bad. But it seems a little forced. You know, do we really want to monetize the dog like that? It's a little sellout behavior, you know? I don't want to, you know, make the dog dance for the webcam. What if my dog wants to go somewhere else? What if my dog wants to go explore the house and then they can't because I'm trying, you know? I don't know. You know, a little problematic, you know? I don't know if a Peaches stream can say that no animals were harmed during the production of that broadcast. But that's good for him. Anyway, let's drink some more coffee and we'll get back to the news show. All right, so we got a news show. So there's a crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, a water crisis, and I'm going to be reading an article from the BBC here. I like to get the outside perspective on this dystopian fucking hellhole country called the United States of America. Jackson, Mississippi has no water to drink or flush toilets. 180,000 residents in Jackson, Mississippi have indefinitely lost access to reliable running water after excessive rainfall and flooding. Rising floodwaters over the weekend breached the city's main water treatment facility, bringing it to the brink of collapse. A state of emergency has been declared, and schools and restaurants and businesses have temporarily closed. Once again, I just want to talk about this real quick. The country, once again, Joe Biden is trying to take credit. Oh, the infrastructure deal. It was infrastructure week last year. At some point, it was infrastructure week a year ago. Thank you, Mila, for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate that. But anyway, it was infrastructure week a year ago, and yet no one has seen any infrastructure upgrades anywhere at all. It's almost like they lied and it was just a corporate handout bill. Almost like that. The city has already been under a boil water notice for a month. Imagine that. You can't drink the water that comes out of your tap. You need to boil it for an hour before you're allowed to drink it. And even then, boiling water doesn't get off a lot of the shit that's in the water sometimes, you know? Problems at the O.B. Curtis water plant began after heavy rains caused the Pearl River to crest and spill over onto city streets over the weekend. City Hall confirmed on Monday that river water had entered the facility, which treats more than 50 million U.S. gallons, 190 million liters per day. I love how they call it U.S. gallons, because nowhere else fucking uses the shitty term gallon. You know what I mean? Both the city and the state are distributing bottled drinking water to residents, as well as non-potable water for toilets via tanker trucks, with Mississippi's National Guard assisting relief efforts. I want to talk about bottled water real quick. How much of this is a handout to these bottled water corporations and companies? Oh, great. Public utilities are fucked up. There's flooding. Now we're going to get a mass buy from the government, a government contract. They're going to buy a fuckload of our product. By the way, just a reminder, bottled water carries a risk of microplastics and PFAS contamination. A lot of bottled water products are also bottled with BPA. So bottled water, not that healthy for you. Is it healthier than whatever the fuck's going on in the tap there? Absolutely. But overall, I personally would steer clear of bottled water if I have the option. That's just me. On Tuesday afternoon, Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba said the very fragile city-run plant would not turn off its water supply, but officials needed time to treat the water. He blamed the system's failure on staffing shortages and a set of accumulated problems based on deferred maintenance that has not taken place in decades. Once again, this is the big thing. There was no maintenance. These motherfuckers, they built the water plant and were like, motherfucker, you need to replace the pipes. You need to make sure that shit's good. Like, again, our infrastructure, our water quality is worse overall in this country than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Why? Because our infrastructure is failing. I want you to Google your zip code and water quality. See what pops up. Almost everywhere in the country, wherever you live in this country, unless you live in like fucking goddamn, I don't know, like rich town USA, chances are there is some form of contaminants and pollutants and unhealthy chemicals in your water, right? So I recommend, if you have any of the excess money, to get water filters. I can't recommend them enough. But again, this fucking shit is crazy. Our infrastructure in this country is a giant disaster. And even though Infrastructure Week was last year, it's not gotten any better. I can tell you that much. Some would even say it's gotten worse. So, again, this country is in tatters, and if you live in Jackson, Mississippi, you're fucked. Your house has been destroyed. You can't even use a bathroom. You can't drink any water. And is the U.S. going to do anything for you? I hope you had flood insurance. I hope you paid a private company for flood insurance. You know, it's a big subsidy for flood insurance companies that the U.S. has such failing infrastructure. Think about it that way. It's fucking crazy shit. Horrible, horrible, terrible, terrible fucking country. Shit on my fucking shoes. And I'm not wearing any shoes, okay, asshole? Now look at this dog. Hi. Hi. Can I get a Max the dog emote in the chat? Is that possible? Could we arrange this? Max the motherfucking dog. I will definitely be adding more Max faces over time, so factor that in. I'll also put my face on there at some point. But you know, you got to spread them out. Doing one new emote every once in a while, you know? That way it keeps the excitement going. It's true. Reminder, WikiFeet, I am formally rated 5 stars until the trolls found my page. The trolls, folks, they made accounts and they rated me down. But before the trolls took place, before, you know, the average audience of WikiFeet, they knew that I had some 5-star motherfucking feet. And so, you know, you don't want to wear shoes, right? That fucks your feet up. It squishes them up. You don't want to end up like, like those people with the fucked up feet. So I should add an emote of my foot. That's what I should add. That's what I'm learning here. A hogless doggy? I don't quite know what that means. You should add an emote of you wearing 4 pairs of sunglasses at once. That's a good idea. Let's rate your ears. We never see them. All right, well, let's get some ear cam. Check this out. Whoa. That's a good ear. That's a good ear. I have like an earwax thing, though. Like, different people have different kinds of earwax. Mine is like the liquidy, sticky ass earwax, right? So like, don't go digging around in my ear unless you want to get all sticky, and like, hey. Okay, so that sucked that those assholes trolled your WikiFeet page. I know, but I can safely say I was rated 5 stars on WikiFeet, and that's enough for me. I can live with that. So anyway, so I got a show here. once again, y'all, follow me on twitch.tv. I've been trying to stream there every day. I'll skip a couple days. It's not that big of a deal. But you know, got some fun stuff over there if you like video games, or if you like talking about cum for like 3 hours straight. You know, it's pretty much random. Sometimes we talk about shit for 3 hours straight. Sometimes we talk about cum for 3 hours straight. And then sometimes, you know, talk about the video game for like 20 minutes. Sometimes we talk about other stuff. You know, so check it out for sure. I also am usually high or on some kind of, you know, something sometimes. More often there than I am on here, because normally in the morning, I just, you know, I usually try to stick to coffee in the morning, but sometimes I wake up all fucked up. Anyway, in other news, a new episode of Cooking with the Bitch airs today. Cooking with the Bitch, folks. Episode 25. Can you believe there's already been 25 episodes of this hit show? And it premieres in 37 minutes. Can you fucking believe this shit? Seitan spinach Rayman dish with hella good stuff involved. And it's vegan. So, Cooking with the Bitch, folks. It's going to be a great episode. You're going to like it. I'm going to like it. And, in fact, I do like it. I'm not going to like it, but I actively like it at this moment in time. So, be sure to open this up in another tab. And, you know, just as soon as this show is over, check it out. 37 minutes. All right, so let's talk about this. So the United States is fucked. Brutal heat wave headed for the U.S. West, raising health fears. This is from The Guardian. A brutal, potentially record-breaking heat wave is setting over the U.S. West, the latest in a string of extreme temperature events that's putting communities on high alert for heat-related illness and death. The National Weather Service expects highs of 115 Fahrenheit, 46 centigrade in parts of Southern California, Sacramento, and the San Joaquin Valley over Labor Day weekend. Extreme heat warnings have been triggered up and down the state, including in the Bay Area. Temperatures are expected to build throughout the week, with northern and southern California bracing for the highest temperatures during the week. Parts of the Pacific Northwest, Nevada, Idaho, and Montana will also face dangerous temperatures. Boise, Idaho is expected to finish August with an average temperature of 80 Fahrenheit, the highest since record-keeping began in 1875. Temperatures are expected to be 8 to 12 degrees above normal in northwest Arizona, southeast of California, and southern Nevada. Across many of these areas, blah, blah, blah. The heat wave is just the latest in several to hit the U.S. this summer. As they grow more frequent and intense, California is debating naming and ranking them similarly to hurricanes to underscore their significance. That's not a bad system. Anyway, once again, climate change. Are we going to do anything about this? So California has a water restriction in place, right? As there's a heat wave. Now, if you're rich, the water restriction doesn't really apply to you. But there was a water restriction in place. And now there's a heat wave. And this is what, the 15th heat wave of the year? And it's only going to get worse. And there's no end in sight. Is anyone going to do anything about it? Now, I'm glad I don't live in California. And I'm also glad I don't live in the South either. So for me, it's been getting a lot cooler over time recently. I mean, I'm hoping there's no more heat waves coming. But anyway, again, there's going to be in 50 years from now, not even like 20, 30 years probably, by 2050, I mean to say, going to be parts of the United States that are just totally uninhabitable. It's just, you can't live there. Sorry. Get like the police tape, just bring police tape and just draw a big line around Nevada, because that shit is going to get canceled pretty fucking soon. I need people to understand that, like, the government's not going to protect you. Your parents are not going to protect you. No one is going to protect you. So we need to protect ourselves, right? We need to, build systems in place, If there is a heat wave, right? Get an air conditioner, find a room in your house, right? Make sure all the doors and windows are sealed. Get that room like decked out. Get your fucking cool ass computer. Get your video games in there. Get a couple of board games. Bring the whole family into one small room in your house. Get a window unit and just cool down that room and say the whole house is off limits. That's what I would do. And when it's really hot, close all the doors and just cycle all the cool air into one room. That way it costs less power and it's more cool over time, right? So, you need to build like water filtration systems, right? Because the water quality can't be relied on, right? During these heat waves, right? What happens if the water gets fucked up like in Jackson, Mississippi? What the fuck are you going to do, right? And so, I don't know, man. Really, the only option is to spend more of the money you don't have to prepare yourself, because no one is going to help you. There will be no public help. No one will help you. The infrastructure, even though Infrastructure Week was last year, not going to be fixed. Climate change, even though we found out about this stuff over 100 years ago, not going to be fixed, right? It's a giant fucking disaster, and we have to deal with it because no one else will. The U.S. government refuses, right? The California government refuses, right? No one in power gives a fuck about you because they're all taken care of. They live in air-conditioned offices. They always have perfectly fine drinking water at all times. If Gavin motherfucking Newsom was living somewhere where you couldn't drink the water or didn't have any access to air conditioning, I guarantee you he would do something. But guess what? He's only the governor because he's not in that position, right? So that's just how it works in this country. We are fucked, and more people are going to die, and it's going to get really bad. Every year, it will get worse. Spend the time in between heat waves to prepare for the next heat wave. That's the only thing I can say. So, Jesus. But anyway, there you go. Realon is spreading fake news in the chat room. Let me be honest. I did promise to paint my toenails live on stream. That is true. And the only reason why I haven't done it yet is because I didn't have nail polish. But as you know, I've been recently getting back into painting my nails. Took a long time off. And now I have nail polish. So the toenail painting stream was delayed until that moment. But I don't paint my toenails. I don't really like to. So I will do the toenail painting stream at some point. That is a completely separate instance from trolls downvoting me on WikiFeet. Both of those things are entirely separated. People that don't watch my stream downvoted me on WikiFeet. They didn't, I'm offended by this and that. They didn't care because they didn't know. They just saw it was on WikiFeet and downvoted me. So, just throwing that out there. Those two things are things that exist, but they are not related. So, Realon is pushing some QAnon adjacent conspiracy theories in the chat room. This is, very similar to, the Stop the Steal stuff going on. This is, the machines. Next, Realon's going to be talking about the machines and, I betrayed the trust. Well, I'll do a fucking toenail painting stream. I don't know. What would be a better platform for toenail painting? Twitch or YouTube? Does anyone know? Maybe we'll do a poll. Like if I'm going to get in like random viewers, right? What's more likely to pull in new viewers? Twitch toenail painting or YouTube toenail painting? I'm not sure. Like what would get I think I'm leaning toward Twitch, but I will do it soon ish. Got to do the merchandise first, but paint your booba with what? What would I paint my booba with? I don't think I can stream that. No free feet. It's got to be free. We got to pull people in. I want someone's first Andrea experience ever on planet Earth to be watching me paint my toenails live on stream. That would be amazing. Like, oh, how did you find me? Oh, I saw you on the toenail painting. Will I ever make an OnlyFans? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway. So, I must be honest. I I'm not too familiar with the subject matter, but this was sent to me by a lovely viewer and major cool person, Mila, in regards to the governor of California. President Newsom, in quotes obviously, goes anti-solar and pro-nuke with a ticking clock. This is from rsn.org. So once again, Gavin Newsom is very clearly trying to make steps to like launch a future president run for the presidency. Maybe he's thinking if Biden doesn't go for it in 24, I'll jump in. Or maybe he's also thinking maybe just 2028, I'll jump in. And so while Mila was at brunch, she managed to send me this article. Now, again, I am not very well informed on nuclear power, but I am informed enough on solar and wind to know that solar and wind is better than nuclear. So green, so-called, Gavin Newsom, the California governor who would like to be president, has gone intensively anti-solar and pro-nuke. He now demands that by Wednesday night, that's tonight, within 48 hours, the state legislature approve keeping the Diablo Canyon nuclear reactors open indefinitely. The shocking pro-nuke move comes parallel with the governor's attempt to tax rooftop solar out of existence. That decision could come from the CA Public Utilities Commission within a month. It is astonishing. It's an astonishing 1-2 punch that has deeply infuriated California's safe energy community. I don't know why anyone would not want solar panels on the roof. Like, to me, the only thing about having solar panels on the roof that is like a negative is the prohibitive cost for the consumer, right? But if the government is subsidizing it with tax credits and other such things, that's a good thing, right? That's a fucking good thing. And then it's also like, if the argument is that nuclear power, if somehow you're pro-nuke or whatever, and you want to, like, I don't know, phase out nuclear power but use it properly while we still can, or whatever like nuanced argument you want to pretend to come up with, there's no reason not to diversify energy from multiple different sources, right? So let's say you want to keep the Diablo Canyon nuclear stuff going on. Why would you not also want to get solar energy much more mainstream? Why would you not want to phase it out over time with other kinds of power, right? Seems like an odd choice. Newsom says he needs Diablo to meet future energy demand, but there are 1 million rooftop solar arrays in a statewide wind solar industry that employs some 70,000 workers. There are 1,500 at Diablo Canyon. With a new federal tax credits and other incentives, renewables are transforming the state, letting hundreds of thousands of households to produce their own clean, cheap energy and break away from utility-owned grid. Thus, Newsom's choice of energy future based on an atomic reactor than solar energy has shocked the state. Designed in the mid-1960s, the Diablo reactors have hosted more civil disobedience arrests than any other in the U.S. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission has long since warned that Unit 1, very ominous name, Unit 1, right, is dangerously embrittled. A deep structural flaw that could turn a meltdown into an apocalyptic explosion. NRC site inspector Dr. Michael Peck has warned that while just 45 miles from the San Andreas fault, I imagine, the reactors can't withstand credible seismic shock from a dozen or more fault lines surrounding the site. The rise of renewables has slashed Diablo's ability to compete, facing major losses and expensive upgrades. Pacific Gas and Electric helped convene a 2-year series of public deliberations to plan a shutdown by 2024 to 2025, when Diablo's NRC licenses would expire. The painstaking collaboration was crowned in 2016 when then Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom joined then-Governor Jerry Brown with PG&E regulators, unions, local governments, environmental, and citizen groups in mapping out a smooth transition to a renewable-based future. Thousands of megawatts of green capacity were factored into the phase-out, guaranteeing California would avoid shortfalls while transitioning to solar wind batteries efficiency. They would guarantee the state's energy security while chasing its carbon reduction targets. Notable opposition came from San Luis Obispo Mothers for Peace, who would still want an immediate shutdown. Mothers for Peace. I love mothers, and I love peace. So those are two things that I'm a huge fan of. In 2019, the mothers also joined a broad coalition asking Newsom to conduct an independent inspection to evaluate the reactor's safety. Newsom has refused. He also wants to hand PG&E $1.4 billion in public money to keep Diablo operating for an undetermined years to come. So this is the other thing. So it's like the way neoliberalism works, right, is giving people free energy or the ability to produce their free energy. Thus, they're not tied to the energy grid, or thus, they're not reliant on the energy grid, is a net negative for neoliberalism, because how else are they going to make money out of you? If you are generating your own product and you don't need to spend money on someone else's product, how are they going to rake in money on sales tax? How are they going to get private companies? Right? More money, right? Because usually utilities are ran by private corporations. Very often, the municipalities will just contract private corporations, and then they gain a monopoly, and then will just price gouge their citizenry. Look at Texas, for example. They do that shit all the time with their ERCOT bullshit. In a very rushed process with no public hearings or inspections, Newsom's move to cancel Diablo's orderly phase-out infuriated green activists who view it as an autocratic, arbitrary, and opportunistic betrayal. This is a long article. Holy moly! I love this, by the way. I love that font. It's a good font. Newsom's sudden support for 35-year-old reactors surrounded by earthquakes. Earthquake faults with major structural flaws in a green state is widely seen as part of a presidential campaign ready to reap huge utility and nuke-powered donations. Newsom says he fears shutting Diablo could cause embarrassing blackouts, but the reactor's downtime is substantial. They regularly destabilize the statewide grid, and they can always blow up. This is like when Gavin Newsom vetoed the safe injection sites and was like, I don't know, didn't really come up with a goddamn fucking reason, but he just did it anyway. This is the same thing. I'm afraid that maybe something could possibly, I don't know, By contrast, a booming network of independently owned battery systems recently helped avert a serious grid blackout. Like all U.S. nukes, Diablo has no private insurance to compensate those harmed by major disaster. If there are workable evacuation plans in the face of a radioactive cloud blowing into Los Angeles, the Central Valley, or the Bay Area, they've not been made public. But Newsom's Diablo package does hand $2 billion or more to PG&E stockholders. Forcing Californians to pay for Diablo's statewide could sabotage community choice aggregation districts, which the big utilities hate. They also hate rooftop solar, which lets homeowners produce their own power and sell it back to the grid. Again, they want to make it so that you are reliant on the government or reliant on private institutions. Having your own self-reliance is bad when it comes to neoliberalism. So heavily funded utility lobbyists are ramming a bevy of taxes and regulations onto the CPUC docket designed to make photovoltaic cells unaffordable. I don't know what a photovoltaic cell is, but I'm assuming it's a battery of some kind. Ironically, Florida's extreme right-wing Governor Ron DeSantis, a possible 2024 Newsom competitor for the White House, has just vetoed a parallel anti-green bill. In both California and Florida, public support for solar is in the range of 80%. One can easily speculate on Newsom's presidential and other motives for this double assault on the green-powered future, but risking billions of public dollars on a dangerous, decrepit nuke plant while slashing rooftop solar certainly sends a message that Gavin Newsom is ready to serve the private utility industry long before the movement for green public power and sustainable planet. Now, again, the thing here that's crazy is that California could be like the trendsetter. Like, oh yeah, we're moving on to the renewable energies. It works. Here's proof. Look at California, right? We banned nuclear power. We banned fossil fuels, and we still make, and we are selling now. Like let's imagine California gets to a position where they could sell energy to other states, where they can make a deal with Washington or whatever to sell energy to another state. Imagine that kind of scenario, right? And then he could run for 2024 on that. But instead of that, he wants money. And he wants money from the private energy sector. He wants money from nuclear lobbyists, right? Because it's all about the money for these people. They don't care about running on policies. They don't care about actually showing voters that they can do what they advocate. They don't give a fuck. All they want is donor money so that they can overstaff their campaigns and give everyone they like a cool, comfy job and pay them a shitload of money to do nothing. That is why these neoliberals will always be a disappointment. So again, I don't know too much about nuclear energy, but I know enough about solar energy to know that it's better than nuclear energy, less risk, and we can just keep expanding things over time. But of course, the big thing here is that self-reliance versus reliance on a private institution or the government. They're always going to want you to be hooked on them. They're always going to want to send you a bill. Doesn't matter how much the bill is for. It doesn't matter how much, if you can pay it or not. But they want to be able to bill you at all times to know that they are in charge, right? So that's really the ultimate thing here, is that they are in charge. The energy companies are in charge. The government is in charge. And you have no possible ability to do anything about it. That's the world that Gavin Newsom apparently wants to live in. Again, this guy is like, it's very obviously cold and calculated the way he's dealing with his headlines lately. And again, he's doing these weird ad buys where he's running ads in Florida. It's obvious. And you know what? Someone's got to push back on it. So there you go. All right, let me scroll up and see what I missed. There's a lot of chatting going on. Gruesome Newsom. That's great. I can't wait to find leaks. Oh my god. Fuck you, Patrick Bateman. I can paint the shit out of my titties on Twitch as long as I use pasties. Okay, that's interesting. If that's like confirmed, if we can get that confirmed, then maybe. Paint booba with cum. I think that one might break the rules. Goddamn sluggo. If you live with trees all over your property, solar doesn't work for you. Well, yeah, that's the thing. But California, I feel like they get a lot of sun over there, right? So. Goddamn donut fucker. The cum chat has arrived. I'm always here for the cum chat, let me tell you. Even though I'm under the I believe that most of these accounts are run by like one, maybe two people. But there's like 18 accounts. But either way, the cum chat, I'm here for it. Not much of a cat person, to be honest. Come on or in me, says Tyler. Solar is what that is. I understand. Thank you. 13 panels and my usage on my bill has been 0 for the last 4 months. That's great. Can you absorb me? I mean, if you want. Perfect cell. I'm down. Missed a lot of cum. It seems like that. I got cum in my eye last night. I hate when that happens. Motherfucker, like your eyes are like red. You know, like that fucking, that episode of fucking SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs like gets like some shit in his eyes, right? And SpongeBob thinks he's a robot, right? And then like Mr. Krabs comes out of the office and his eyes are red and he's got like the fucking like the tongs or whatever, right? That's me when I get cum in my eyeball. It's like my eyes are red, they're beaming, like I hear like the sizzle like in my head, just it's the worst. Hello, fuck state, how's it going? Amaranth does shower streams in a bikini. Lost 3 hours the other weekend during that stream. Really? Who is Amaranth? Hypoallergenic white paint. But then again, that might get clapped as well. I'm not sure. Someone give me the rules. I mean, I'm considering many things. Someone give me the rules. You folks need to get out more often. No. Get out less. There's a fucking pandemic out there. There's fucking like mass shootings in grocery stores. I'm getting out less. I have a cat named Max and a dog named Ringo. That's great news. Video evidence of that happening? Of what happening? Of me getting cum in my face? I don't know. I would need to get the other person's consent, I guess. Booba streamer Amaranth. Okay. Yeah, I don't know any of those popular Twitch streamers. I know 0% of them. So, to me, it's like, I have no idea who that is. The only one I know is Hassan, I guess. But I've never really watched the stream. A Twitch streamer, a blow-up pool in her bedroom. Okay. Pool floats. Okay, so she just like wears a bikini and plays around in an inflatable pool that happens to be in her bedroom. And you're telling me people give her money for this? Now that's fascinating. That's fascinating. All right, you know what else is fascinating? I would be remiss if I didn't cover this, but I only got 13 minutes. So everyone, again, cooking with the bitch in 13 fucking minutes. 13 minutes. Open this in another tab. And then we're going to enter our last news story for today, but we're going to be speedrunning this one because I got to talk about this one. So, you know, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the Cooking with the Bitch chat, you know, but anyway. Donald J. Orange M, a.k.a. the Orange Man, is at it again, folks. Donald Trump woke up and went on a 60-post QAnon-fueled social media spree. This is crazy. This is crazy stuff. Former President Donald J. Orange Man, also the loser of the 2020 election. He lost. Joe Biden was the winner of the 2020 election. Trump spent Tuesday morning feverishly sharing content from supporters on his social media platform Truth Social, posting or reposting more than 60 times since early Tuesday morning, including content from QAnon accounts and the far-right message board 4chan. So let's check out some of these embedded tweets here. Donald J. Trump retruth. Let's see what this is. Oh, God. Forch Poll, which is the politics board of 4chan. Military intelligence versus FBI, CIA, NSA. Under what article can president impose MI takeover investigations for 3 agencies? What condition? Okay, so there's this like meme going on that like there's like a battle going on in the deep state, right? And like the pro-Trump forces are like going to take over the FBI and the CIA, and then they're going to reinstate Donald Trump. So I think that that's what that's talking about. In the face of the DOJ probe over his post-presidency handling of classified documents, Trump has sought reassurances from his most loyal followers, including accounts like Patriotic American Alpha Sauce and Ultra MAGA for Life, who posts memes lauding the former president. Trump using Truth Social to push QAnon content isn't new. Alongside jabs at Biden and prominent Democrats, Trump has amplified QAnon promoting accounts at least 70 times since joining and actively using Truth Social. Media Matters senior researcher Alex Kaplan tweeted on Monday. So as you can see, he's tweeting out FBI with the Facebook. Got Pepe memes, which is some 4chan shit. Among his Tuesday morning posting spree, Trump retruthed the text of a message from Q, the conspiracy deity, claiming to be a high-ranking government official with Q-level security clearance, and whose adherents believe Trump will save America from a cabal of Satan-worshipping pedophiles. Trump has thrown red meat at QAnon believers of his base in the past. The signs and slogans of the conspiracy are not an uncommon sight at Trump rallies and events. The former president refused on multiple occasions to denounce QAnon, which has been deemed a potential terror threat as recently as earlier this month. Trump posted a video of himself to Truth Social that featured a song affiliated with QAnon. The flurry of posts and reposts Tuesday morning document the former president's online stream of consciousness, which extends beyond QAnon to everything from accusations of corruption within the FBI to misappropriated George Orwell quotes to poop jokes about President Biden. So let's watch this. This is apparently a cringe comp of what's going on Donald Trump's Truth account. So, talking about gas prices, and then there's that. The FBI has advanced this fact. Oh boy. This is great. So he's just like posting like really bad Facebook memes? Oh my god. So anyway, this is what Donald Trump's doing with his life, posting really bad Facebook memes. QAnon affiliated influencers has two eyes for some reason, and forums celebrated the shout out from the former president, with some users calling for retribution against his political enemies. Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I can't with this shit. On Monday, Trump, who has been attempting to shore up his political base for a potential third presidential bid, called for an immediate redo of the 2020 election, because that's a thing, apparently, in his mind. Or in his instatement as the rightful president of the United States, possibly illegal campaign-style activities have been overshadowed in recent weeks by the Justice Department's investigation into the classified documents he hoarded at Mar-a-Lago and whether he may have violated the Espionage Act. The Justice Department is expected to release a receipt of the materials seized in an August raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago home on Tuesday. So I know that there's some stuff that the DOJ has talked about, but I'm going to get into like the meat of that tomorrow, once I get some more, opportunity to analyze that stuff. But again, the idea that Donald Trump is just like going to his echo chamber and like posting really bad like memes from like 2015, because that's really all that is, right? Like the woman wearing the fucking yellow construction vest screaming, like that's a meme from like fucking like almost 10 years ago, right? These people really need to update their fucking shit, man. It's embarrassing. But again, the idea of a former president just building an echo chamber, where just like a bunch of boomers repost this shit to him and they're all kind of swimming in their own toilet, to me is kind of hilarious. But again, these people have power, and if Donald Trump does get held accountable, there's going to be a lot of people that are extremely mad about that, and a lot of them are going to turn to violence. Just him getting raided by the FBI, people turn to violence, right? So it's embarrassing, it's hilarious, it's all of those things, but it's also kind of horrifying when you really think about it, that there are millions of people that actually support this guy and actually think these boomer memes are like sacred documents or whatever, and the fight for freedom or whatever. It's Jesus. It's bad. It's really sad, and it's bad. And again, I would be remiss if I didn't say this, and only this. If you watch this clip and you disagree, I want you to know, as a final moment, as a final word of wisdom here, Orange Man, bad. So, just throwing that out there. Thank you, Juan Ortiz. Welcome to Cool. I love how it says that, because the name of the member level is Cool. Welcome to Cool. It sounds like sounds like a poorly translated video game from the 1980s. But thank you. I've gotten C in my eye a few times is worth the pain. I mean, to me, like, the eye is not my ideal destination. No pun intended with ideal. Like the goddamn stream. I agree with the letter hack. He's ineligible to run for the president, 14th Amendment, Section 3. I don't know. We live in that post-truth world where people just don't care, It's weird. Folks, Cooking with the Bitch is going to be directly following this episode of Above It All, and it's a good ep. It'll be in 5 minutes, so I will be ending this stream very shortly. I'll show myself out, and I'll be in the chat for the premiere of Cooking with the Bitch. But before I go, I would like to say once again, thank you for people for joining the membership thing. I'm still working on the merchandise stuff. That should be done soon. But as you may have noticed, things have been happening. So I hope that people are noticing that I am doing things. I've spent months and months talking about, I'm going to do this. And now, right, they're happening, right? So follow me on Twitch as well. The Max emotes should be on Twitch, as I submitted them like I think last weekend, but they're just taking forever to be approved. So there you go. What is the ideal destination? Well, I'll maybe get into that in a later stream. I don't have enough time. I got to get the hell out of here. Imagine if you'd done the membership sooner. Well, trying my best, okay? But anyway, if anyone does want to join the members, it's $2 a month for the bottom tier. And then there's other tiers. And you know, I'm working on it. I'll add some more stuff to all that soon. I don't know if I'll ever end up doing like members only videos. Like, I could maybe see myself doing like a cooking with the bitch teaser or something, but also I don't think I'm big enough that that's something I want to do. I'd rather, like, when I make a video, I want as many people as possible to be able to see it. That's just kind of how I work. Yes, Rielan, I'm aware. Trust me. I've known the whole time. Like, I am aware from the start of all of this, and I knew the whole time. It's just I'm a lazy fucking prick, you know? And I'm, you know, again, I got this whole thing going on. Look at that, Max the dog right there with his head in the pillow. Look at that. See? So I'm working on stuff. I told y'all a couple months ago that this year I have a lot of projects I'm working on, and you're starting to see them come to fruition. But anyway, Cooking with the Bitch, folks. You can enter the Pro Simp Zone at the Cooking with the Bitch chat room. And once again, follow me on Twitch as well if you want to call me hot over and over again, because I stream on there too. Goodbye. Everyone have a wonderful day.
On political corruption, we are going to restore honor to our government. In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know. But the real problem is that our leaders are dumb.